Hello, my name is Brainerd Carey, and today I'm talking about getting into the Whitney Museum Biennial, a prestigious exhibition that my wife and I were in, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to approach. Who I am is an author who's written these two books. This one's called New Markets for Artists. They're both about professional development for artists, but this one is primarily about using the internet to share and sell. This one is making it in the art world, a bestseller on Amazon. And that book is about developing your professional career as an artist, including doing things like getting into the Whitney Biennial, the Venice Biennial. So biennials are very prestigious and important for artists. The reason is you usually get national or international attention with it. The Whitney Museum Biennial is produced every 2 years by the Whitney Museum of American Art in New York. It is largely for American artists, but not entirely. It's not exclusive to American artists, though very often there are a lot of American artists in there. It often brings in artists from all over the world because the issue that the Whitney initially was trying to resolve, which is there wasn't enough representation of American artists in the world, is no longer the case. So how do you get into the Whitney Biennial? What is the process? There isn't a formal application process, which is important, just as there really isn't a formal application process for many of the biennials. It's about understanding who's running the biennial and writing them a letter and giving them some kind of proposal. This may seem odd because there isn't a direct path into it, but that is exactly what I did. My wife and I wrote them a proposal, and I'll explain exactly how, and sent it 3 different times, and were selected. We weren't represented by a gallery at that time, and we were picked to be in that exhibition because of work we sent in. So this is the way it works. This is the way I would approach it. To begin with, know when the next Whitney Biennial is coming up, okay? Which is, in a little more than a year, but take a look at when the Whitney Biennial is happening. You can go to the whitneymuseum.org, but be aware of that. Then watch the newspapers carefully. I use Google Alerts, which means you can put something in quotes like Whitney Museum Biennial, and Google will search that for you every day or every other day, whatever you suggest, and give you all the news on that. This is what you want. You want all the news that's coming in currently on the next Whitney Museum Biennial. When you have that, you'll notice emails coming in every now and then, not all the time, because they don't announce it that much, but when curators are chosen to be participating in the biennial, when the chief curator is chosen and the associate curator is chosen to run the biennial, that will be announced in a newspaper. The Whitney Museum will send out a press release. The year that I was in with my wife, I noticed in the news brief section of the New York Times, I wasn't using Google clipping service then, but I noticed in the newspaper it said that the curator had just been chosen for the visual arts, and another curator was being chosen for different aspects of the Whitney Biennial. So what we did was immediately we sent a letter to the curator of the Whitney Biennial. It was a very short letter. It did not have our resume in it. It did not have a biography in it. It had a very brief statement saying, this is who we are, we're 2 artists, and we're doing this kind of installation and sculpture and performative work at that time, and this is the project that we think you'd be interested in. Again, no, we sent a little videotape with it. You could send images, but it was a small package so they could get a quick sense of, is this person interesting? That is essentially how you do it. I said, after that, I noticed in the newspaper that they had hired a Biennial Coordinator, which was a new position. And they're always creating new positions, which means if someone is sending in letters, that's the person that tells which department that letter should go to. So again, the important thing here is knowing when the biennial is, who the curators are, and sending them in some kind of a letter. There's nothing to lose. It doesn't cost you anything at all. And at the very least, even if you don't get picked, you're putting your work in front of curators and people who are important that put together exhibitions all the time. So why not try it? I think it's a very important exhibition for any artist, and it's worth getting into the habit of trying to do. That's really all I want to say on the Whitney Museum Biennial. It's a show that prides itself on having artists from all over the country of all different types, from self-taught to highly conceptual. There's an enormous range of artists in there. So it's not as though your work isn't hip enough or current enough or trendy enough. They are looking all over the map for all kinds of artists, and they're simply looking for really good work. So I wouldn't hesitate in sending in work or asking me more. If you want to know more information about what I do, you can like this page if you're seeing it on Facebook, or check the links below for more information about what it is that I do, which is provide an education for artists who want to professionally develop their careers. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the best with your career.